I haven't been working hard as far as like going out and, you know, doing my career work. I just been taking more time to write and it just gives me anxiety because I'm writing and I'm not making all the money that I need, but I'm telling myself that I'm fine anyway. Um, can I have some more clarity on that as well? Like, am I really okay with relaxing and putting more time into writing and not taking all the jobs that they sent to my phone? It's just like, I don't know, I feel like I'm getting like depressed or something because I'm worried if I'm doing the right things or the wrong things.
I had to listen to your message before I could record what we had to discuss today because I'm like, I need to get back into the energy of it, right? When I was giving you answers yesterday, I was already on the channel. So since I wasn't like super tapped in, I had to lock back in. But several things came through when you were talking in there. When you were talking about the writing and how you laid everything out and you just didn't know it was going to be this exhausting, it sounds like that's because you're channeling. So you know how sometimes I'll be late with videos and stuff, but it's because each download, much like a download on your phone, a game, app, right? Each download has a different size, different megabytes, different features. Some days you'll get an update and it's light and you feel really, right? It just comes through because that was just like an add-on, like another piece, as opposed to like the whole chapter being downloaded because you're pulling something from the collective, from outside of yourself. So you originally came to me for this session because we were discussing you possibly using the demon's name in there, and I brought up Charles Lee Ray, right? Uh, People are going to do what they want to do anyway. The thing that gets you out of the deal because of the setup that you have is just the fact that you mentioned it. It's the same as the thing the Masons do, ask one to be one. And that's literally all they have written on there. Whatever your entity's name is and the story that you tell, even if you're telling it as a cautionary tale, because most of the time it is a cautionary tale. You tell your story, you tell what happened to you, right? It's still going to be somebody else's decision. That's why the system tends to work for them on the other side of the veil. Because people are fools. They're going to listen to your story. Even though you say it ended up that way, and you've been dealing with this for hundreds of years, right? There's still going to be at least one person that's going to be like, but she got famous, right? That is the nature of humanity. There is nothing that you can do about that. Uh, I'm gonna pull. I'm gonna pull from my map deck to see what message I need to give you first, because there were so many things I had to say. Have you been seeing the twos? Came out. Any variations of twos. It can be you seeing the number two everywhere, or 222, 222, 2222. All the varieties. I'm saying that because something you said in your message to me made me feel like you should be seeing the twos because the twos are for building. And I'm actually doing on a post that today. When you are already, and it's 2 o'clock, just turned, when you have successfully planted a manifestation and you are building towards it at the time, you will see the twos. When you see the two, the only thing that you are meant to focus on at that time is to stay in alignment. Keep the vibration of this is mine, this is my dream. Keep your focus, knock those distractions out the way because you have finally got on the right path to move towards the thing. So what does Mercedes need to know right now? Two is also a Taurus number, the number of the builder, the link to your finances. It is also the frequency of balance, which means that everything that you have put out will be coming back to you because that is how equilibrium works. Talisman, movement, rock bottom, strength, heal the ouch, unexpected visitors. So these are like my directional cards to tell you usually where you're going. What did you bring with you from Jersey? Is there anything you would consider your good luck charm? Possible. You're doing the thing because you need to have the thing ready when you come across a certain person, is what I'm getting. Like it feels weird right now because yes, you need money. There's stuff you need to do. But the example I have, keep in mind, I didn't know why I was going to LA. I just thought it was because I'd never seen it. And like if I could just book one wedding over there, because the weddings are worth $5,000 over there as a photographer, right? As opposed to over here in Georgia where the average is like 2,200. If I could have just booked one over there, one real wedding, I would have stayed. That would have been my first month, my deposit. I would have been in that bitch. That's not how it went. Because when I got there, suddenly the person I was with was like, we need to write music. And I'm like, I haven't written music in years, but guess what? I didn't graduate high school. But I didn't graduate high school because once I got in there, I was like, I'm supposed to be a singer. So the only thing I need to focus on is chorus class, Spanish class, and lunch. I would use all my other classes to write songs. I had this big super notebook and it looked like I was doing my work all the time, but I was working on perfecting my lyrics. I would always go through everybody's albums. I knew the producers, songwriters, I knew music video directors, I knew the background dancers, the video girls. I knew everything there was to know about the entertainment industry. Even to this day, I can still be like, is that Teresa Barbera? And that's the like CEO of Sony or something, right? I was in that energy because that's what I knew I was meant to do. So when he said, right, I was like, okay. And it just poured out. It poured out for days. And it didn't stop after that. Ended up creating 3 albums. And I've been sitting on these 3 albums for years because I'm like, what? I'm supposed to wait till the war's about to start and our music is supposed to be like the musicians on Titanic? Like we are supposed to be the thing that like lulls everything because nobody's gonna want to hear about drinking, smoking, fucking, violence or any of that. They're just gonna want some peace, something real. And I'm like, okay, so it wasn't until literally, and that was 2020. It wasn't until the writing started in 2019, didn't get that message that was what it was for until 2020 after COVID hit. But just this year, this is what, 5 years later, am I getting the funding and the messages that I can't miss that it's time to go. The project is, it's time. The temperature has arrived at the right place. Like the frequency of the planet now is receptive to the music that would not have made sense years ago. All of what I experienced and not understanding any of that has clearly been so I can help other people whose contracts are being activated as well. Because that's what this is giving me. When we were there, when we had just started working on the music, we weren't really taking it serious or anything because we didn't know why we were doing it. The person I was with was the not Lyft, Postmates driver. We came across Dane Cook. We ended up at an Oscars party. We were at all these places. But guess what we didn't have with us? The music. Went to a fashion show, right? And they invited us to the after party. And we were like, no, I'm gonna go back to the room. At the Oscars party, they invited us into the banquet hall so we can sit and like mingle. And we went to leave, and the girl that we had met there and sort of befriended, she was like, y'all are leaving? We were like, yeah. She was like, do you know what type of people are in there? Like who you could possibly meet by going into this room? And we were like, yeah, well, we got to get back. It came one time when he delivered something. I guess he was singing when he was delivered, and the dude said, hey, do you have your demo on you? Your voice is beautiful, and my cousin works in radio. He did not have the demo on him, but imagine somebody asking him for the demo. Once we got here, several years later, right? 211, that's the dude I was with, my partner, let's say partner, because the divorce is underway, right? But we still work together in music and all the other stuff, kids. He's at his sandwich shop one day and a guy comes in and he's like, the dude is like, hey, so is this what you want to do with your life for the rest of your life? And so 211 is like, no, actually, I've been working on music. And the guy says, do you have it online? Can I look at it? Turns out the dude is from Rock Nation. He's an A&R. He's still following us to this day. We have his phone number. But when 211 told me that, I was like, because at this point I had learned how this works. That man said he had never been in that store before. He had never noticed that substance shop, but something told him to go in there that day. That's because from the moment that your contract is activated, if you have a contract, everything around you is moving you towards fulfilling that. If you would like another live example, just as good as the one I gave you of like what happened in our case, there is a Tekashi 6ix9ine documentary on Amazon. there is a point in this documentary when he says, once I got the idea that I was going to be an artist, I knew where I was being pulled. Like I knew what color I needed to dye my hair. I knew where I needed to put my tattoos. I knew what my stage name needed to be. And he's like, it's like it was coming from outside of me, but I just like understood what I was supposed to do. That's how it works. That is exactly how it plays out. Now, to this day, I'm like, all right, the Rock Nation dude is sitting over here. There's another dude that I had to go get my demo to that I know has been lurking in the background. I didn't realize I was putting myself in a velociraptor position, but it was already above me. When you have a contract in the entertainment realm, which is what today's lesson is actually about, you get called back in. That's also what the 444 is. So I don't know if you've seen the Barbie movie, but that was the example of what Venus was like. Barbie's in charge. She don't be like fucking with Ken like that. He there, he cool. He want to be with the girls, but he's like, where do I fit in this? He just want to be with Barbie. That's what it was like in the Pleiades. The Pleiades are 444 billion light years away. They are artist colony, if you will, where the writers, the dancers, the singers, the people who have that natural creative energy. You can even think of them as like fairies or muses or nymphs, which they all became later on in different incarnations here on Earth. So the Martian army, the reptilian army, and you can look at it as when Ken took over the patriarchy or when he discovered patriarchy. You totally have to watch the Barbie movie. But if you're a writer and into movies and all that stuff, this will help you better understand what conduit is coming through you for you to deliver something from the collective, right? So when he came through with the army, he imprisoned all the royalty from all the other star seeds. That means he went through Orion, Aldebaran, he went through Vega, where the Arcturians, all the different species, right? Took their royalty and took their smartest people, the most talented, replicated their DNA, sort of put them into a filing system in a way, like a Build-A-Bear, a soul generator, so that they can keep getting produced down here on Earth over and over again, according to these contracts that have pretty much got forced on these people in some way. Some are marriage contracts, some are those for entertainment, but either way, it's a loop. And I'm going to send you a link that I've been saving because I didn't know how to share it with people because I don't think the information is for everybody. But the artists, in a way, they are trafficked angels. Every lifetime, like Chuck E. Cheese animatronic, we get our souls brought back here in different bodies and then find our way back to the stage. You know how they say there are people who are industry plants and you can see them in music and movies and stuff like that? We are soul industry plants, like galactic industry plants. Like every time you come back to the stage, the big higher ups are like, oh, that's such and such again, back in the system. Like they just keep bringing you back because of your gifts and the ripple that you were stuck in. If you would like to know more about this, there's a book called Merlin's War, The Family of Light and Dark. If you need the name of the author, I can give you that too. But I'm giving you so much content just to fill in your past life memories because what happens is it acts as an activation. Everything here has a date on it, right? So say for instance, this release date was July 27th, 1999, right? You would go pull up the transits for that day and look at that next to your chart to see what was being activated in your chart. Something in your 8th house was revealing something that you didn't know before. Something in your 12th house was revealing something from your past life that you did not remember. Something in your 1st house is directly telling you something about your storyline. The same applies to music artists who have their sun in your 1st house, actors, writers, people who are just like energies you are naturally drawn to are usually your 1st or your 2nd house. But all of this right here is to say that you are being pushed into your soft self because you create better in that flow. In your masculine energy, you're not as creative, you're more logically thinking, and you need to be an open conduit at this time is what I'm getting for the story that's coming through. You need to be in that 12th house isolation energy. And the more you interact with people out and about, when you step into somebody's bubble, you have a conversation with them, you start thinking about what you guys are talking about, right? For you, you are still going to process that 12 hours later. You're going to be fully thinking through that. When you are not around other people, you don't have anybody else's stuff in your bubble for you to process because a lot of people tend to come to you for problem solving. So you get to solve your own stuff. You get to have your own clarity, and that can be intense because your body is trying to get these downloads through in the time that you are giving them for them to come out. So I'm getting that some days you'll make a crazy amount of money because you need a money candle constantly running when you go out because you'll be going out less, but you might be going out harder. Like you might do 10 or 12-hour shifts, but you'll have the energy for it because the days you spent writing, your body got to rest. That job is more body than the channeling one is your actual like energy. Like I guess you're doing dummy work is the way to put it. You're doing work that doesn't require what the writing requires from you. So there will be a balance between these two things that'll work out. But you don't want to come across the people that are going to be on your path, that were already set up on your path for you to deliver this thing. All of that was for me to tell you. You don't want to be caught out or miss the opportunity to deliver your thing, to give your business cards, to give your website. That's the thing about the 222 energy. And that's what I'm fairly sure you've been seeing the twos. Now it's 211. Get ready. If you stay ready, you ain't never got to get ready. Is that the term? Be prepared so you don't have to prepare when the time comes, so you don't miss it. You might be in the right place without the right things. Imagine coming across that Issa Rae person again, and they invite you to a party and she just happens to be there. You know, just an example. But anything can happen. Anything can happen. This is magic, baby. And you set up a manifestation. For the 222, you must stay in alignment with the energy of you are a writer. You are a great thinker. You are a builder. Trust your flow. Keep your magic up the whole time. Keep your roads open. This means your magic builds on top of each other. This means on the new moon, you need to be planting a money candle and a white candle. Just keep it clear. Every full moon, you need to be doing a road opener. Keep it open and a green candle. You are going to be pretty much finessing this to get stuff to happen in your favor so that you can get this project done. But it's like the doors are open for you to do it. Everything has been building up to this. You just have to follow your intuition and trust. Even if the part of you that is that logical, more solid part is like, holy shit, what the fuck is happening here? Nothing about this experience that you've had lately has been logical or normal, has it? The rules are changing for you. They are bending. You are the one bending them. You just have to learn to trust your ability to bend and to understand that the magician is a combination of thy will be done, which is going with God, in charge. God, if you want this from me, I only want stuff that's within these perimeters. I'm not willing to do nothing that compromises my soul. I'm not doing anything that compromises anybody else's. So you set those terms. Thy will be done. And then do what thou willst. It's I'll be a writer. I want to go to the top. But that's your God-given destiny. That's why it's implanted in you in the first place, because you are absolutely in some way, shape, or form a part of that 444 colony. And I'm going to find it in your chart and send it to you right as I send this video. Hope you enjoyed your mini reading, ma'am. Oh, my mouse is stuck.